The world awoke on April 21, 2025, to the somber news. Pope Francis, the 266th leader of the Catholic Church, had passed away at the age of 88. His passing was not just the end of a life, but the closing of a significant chapter in the history of the Church. His death marked the end of an era, a pontificate defined by humility, social justice, and confronting uncomfortable truths. Pope Francis was known for his efforts to bridge divides, his outreach to marginalized communities, and his unwavering stance on climate change. The Vatican, draped in mourning, prepared for a period of reflection and transition. The bells of St. Peter's Basilica tolled, echoing the sorrow felt by millions around the globe. The College of Cardinals would soon convene under the weight of history and prophecy. They faced the monumental task of electing a new pope, a decision that would shape the future of the Church. The world watched, a mixture of grief and anticipation hanging heavy in the air. People from all walks of life gathered, united in their shared sense of loss and curiosity about what lay ahead. For many, Pope Francis embodied a beacon of hope in an increasingly fractured world. His messages of love, compassion, and unity resonated deeply, transcending religious boundaries. His passing ignited speculation and unease, particularly among those who saw echoes of ancient prophecies. Conversations buzzed with theories and interpretations as people sought meaning in the midst of their grief. Michel de Nostradame, better known as Nostradamus, had long captivated the world with his cryptic pronouncements about the future. His writings, filled with enigmatic verses, had been a source of fascination and debate for centuries. Now, with the passing of Pope Francis, Nostradamus's words took on a renewed urgency, his prophecies scrutinized for clues about the future of the Catholic Church and the world. Scholars and enthusiasts alike pored over his texts, searching for insights and predictions that might shed light on the path ahead. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the man who would become Pope Francis, was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in 1936. Growing up in a modest family, he learned the values of humility and hard work from an early age. His journey to the papacy was unconventional, marked by a deep commitment to social justice and a simple lifestyle. He was the first Jesuit pope, a member of the Society of Jesus, known for their educational, missionary, and charitable works. The first from the Americas, bringing a fresh perspective to the Vatican, and the first from the Southern Hemisphere, representing a significant shift in the Church's history. His election in 2013 was met with surprise and cautious optimism, as many wondered how he would lead the Church. Francis embraced a life of humility and service, shunning opulence for modesty. He chose to live in a simple guest house rather than the papal apartments. He washed the feet of prisoners, embraced the marginalized, and made it a point to connect with those on the fringes of society, and spoke out against social injustice and environmental degradation, urging the world to take action. His papacy was marked by openness and dialogue, fostering conversations with other faiths and cultures, reaching out to other faiths and emphasizing mercy over dogma, promoting a more inclusive and compassionate church. His famous "Who am I to judge?" statement on homosexuality highlighted his inclusive approach, sparking both praise and controversy. Critics, however, accused him of diluting traditional doctrines and undermining papal authority, creating a divide within the church. They bristled at his calls for a more inclusive church, one that welcomed all people regardless of their past, welcoming divorced and remarried Catholics, offering them a place within the church community, as well as LGBTQ+ individuals, advocating for their dignity and rights within the church. Pope Francis's papacy, though marked by humility and reform, faced its share of storms. His handling of the sexual abuse scandals drew criticism, with some arguing his efforts were too little, too late. His progressive stance on social issues, particularly his openness to the LGBTQ+ community, also drew fire from conservatives. His famous "Who am I to judge?" statement was seen by some as a betrayal of traditional teachings. His emphasis on environmentalism and critique of capitalism sparked debate. Despite controversies, Pope Francis remained a popular figure, admired for his humility and commitment to social justice. His death left the Catholic Church at a crossroads, grappling with his legacy and the uncertainty of the future. Whispers from the past, Nostradamus and the papal prophecy. The death of Pope Francis reignited interest in the cryptic prophecies of Nostradamus. One particular quatrain seemed to resonate with the current situation. The mention of a very old pontiff seemed to fit Pope Francis, who died at 88. Another quatrain spoke of turmoil within the church and the rise of a black pope. The city of Seven Hills was widely interpreted as Rome, the seat of the Catholic Church. Deciphering the enigma Nostradamus in the wake of Francis. With the passing of Pope Francis, the world turned to the cryptic verses of Nostradamus. The mention of a very old pontiff followed by a reign shorter than his predecessor sparked speculation. Some saw it as a clear indication that the next pope would be short-lived. The image of the Black Pope falling, his throne consumed by fire, was equally unsettling. Some saw it as a harbinger of schism within the church, a conflict between traditionalists and reformers. Others interpreted the Black Pope symbolically, representing challenges facing the church in the modern world. The prophecies of Nostradamus, open to interpretation, offered no definitive answers but captivated the imagination. The Sacred Conclave, a church on the precipice of change. As the world mourned Pope Francis, the College of Cardinals began their solemn journey to the Vatican to elect a new leader. This ancient ritual, steeped in history and tradition, would once again capture the attention of millions around the globe. The conclave, shrouded in secrecy and tradition, would take place within the hallowed walls of the Sistine Chapel. Here, under the watchful eyes of Michelangelo's masterpieces, the future of the church would be decided. The cardinals, sequestered from the outside world, would cast their ballots, guided by the Holy Spirit and centuries of history. Each vote, a prayerful decision, would be made in the hope of divine guidance. The stakes were high, with the church at a crossroads. The faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square, their eyes fixed on the chimney that would signal the outcome. The choice of the next pope would determine the direction of the church for years to come. Would they choose a leader who would uphold tradition, or one who would embrace reform? The debates were intense, the discussions profound. Each cardinal brought their own perspective, their own hopes for the future of the church. The world watched the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel for the signal. Would it be black smoke or white? Black smoke signaled indecision. White smoke heralded a new pope. The moment of revelation was at hand and the world held its breath. A world adrift, the Vatican and the global stage. The death of Pope Francis and the upcoming conclave unfolded against a backdrop of global uncertainty. The world in 2025 was a place of increasing polarization, climate change, and economic inequality. The Catholic Church, once a beacon of stability, found itself navigating a world in flux. The next pope would inherit a church grappling with its past, present, and future. The prophecies of Nostradamus seemed to resonate with the anxieties of the age. The world watched and waited, holding its breath as the cardinals prepared to make their choice.